So have you ever looked at yourself and maybe wondered if you had bad posture, or maybe someone else has told you that you have bad posture yourself? For today's video, we're going to be going over what bad posture looks like, but also the problems that may arise from having it. Hi everyone, I'm Dr. AJ Pacis from the Active Family Chiropractic and Wellness Center in Mississauga, Ontario, Canada. And a lot of the patients coming into our office, they often deal with, yes, back pain, neck pain, but a lot of them attribute to a lot of the bad postures they carry throughout the day, a lot of it because of the work that they do. But before we go on with this video, make sure that you do like, subscribe, turn on the notification bell as well to make sure that you're notified of our new videos. And don't forget to share this with other people so they can hear about this as well. So like I said, a lot of our patients coming in attribute a lot of their pain and discomfort to the poor postures that they carry throughout the day. And we want to help you understand what draws a bad posture or what a bad posture looks like and the problems that arise from it far more than just the aesthetics of it itself. So as we know, there are certain expectations in terms of our alignment and how we carry ourselves, right? Looking at these pictures right next to me here, when I look at you from the front to the back, I want to see a straight posture, a straight spine from the top down to the bottom. And then when we're looking at you from the side, just right over here, what we want to see is natural curvatures in the spine, but to certain degrees and directions. So what we consider bad posture is basically moving away from these certain alignments, which will eventually draw on certain problems afterwards, all right? So as misalignment or bad posture occurs, it leads to another thing, and that's basically what we call dysfunction, right? And this is basically the body is not able to function at its normal capacity. Now, a lot of the patients coming into our office will explain in terms of movement and their limitations, such as not being able to turn their head, especially when they're checking their blind spots, for example, not being able to bend down and touch their toes because of the limitations from bad posture. But then furthermore, even shoulder injuries or limitations in the shoulder, and then sometimes numbness and tingling going down into the arms and into the legs. Now, as chiropractors, we understand that the problems that may arise are far more than just the mechanical limitations that ensue. A lot of it can come from the communication that happens within the body as well, because we know the spine has a very intimate relationship with the brain. And the more that the spine changes, it actually affects how a lot of the information goes to the different parts of the body. So again, if the spine is changing, then we are disrupting a lot of the natural communication that the brain is trying to give to the rest of the body. So as a result of dysfunction, and if those stresses do not go away, then it leads to another thing that we call dis-ease or even injury within the body. Now, as we understand, injury itself can bring on other discomforts and pains, but what we need to understand is that a big one that afflicts the spine is what we call degeneration or basically arthritis of the spine. And to give you an understanding of what this looks like, within a normal spine, we have what it looks like here, a lot of spacing that's adequate for the spine to move and function. In the joints, we have adequate spacing, as you can see here. Surrounding the disc, we have enough space for the disc itself to function, and then also for the nerves to travel out of the spine to send the communication that it's supposed to, right? What starts to happen with bad posture is exactly what we see into here, where a lot of the spacing starts to get smaller, especially for the joints where they're not able to move the way they're supposed to, dysfunction. But then also the spacing for the disc not only affects the bones themselves, but then also the spacing for the communication and nerve as well, okay? So over time, what starts to happen is this is a progressive problem. As your bones and your joints start to take on more of this stress, it's going to react in a way where it thinks it just needs more support for that added stress. So what it does, as you can see here, is it starts to create extra bone surrounding the disc, even into the joints, but then over time you can see how this affects spacing for even your communication as well with the nerves traveling through the spine, all right? Or you can imagine again in terms of limitations what this might bring on, right? So again, over time it is a progressive problem where you can see that things start to fuse together, segments start to pretty much encroach on top of each other within the disc spacing, within the joints themselves, and then even into the nerve spacing as well. And this is what we would consider the final stage. Obviously at this point is a point of no return as well, because you can see the bone that starts to develop is something that we can't get rid of, at least externally from that manner. So again, all of this happens as a result of progressive bad posture that accumulates over time. And what we're starting to understand, especially within our office, is that this is happening to even our younger generation at a much earlier age. So what we noticed is that, today's demand requires us to use technology quite a lot throughout the day. And what we notice is that a lot of people are assuming the wrong postures when we're using our devices. A lot of it is looking down, even if you're reading a book, looking down at your device or your book in this posture right here. Now, what we need to understand is that over time, this will have its effects on your spine. But like I said, this is affecting even kids at a much younger age who are being introduced to technology at a very young age. So in 2017, there was a study done on children and adolescents to understand why they were developing neck pain at a very young age. And out of the 207 participants, 180 of them had developed neck pain specifically because of the postures that they were assuming throughout the day. What they noticed was from all 180 of them, they were all using their devices with what we call forward flexion of the head. Now, on top of that, what they noticed is that the amount of time that they were holding this position as well was anywhere from 5 to 7 hours throughout the day. So imagine being in a bad posture for that long of a time throughout the day. So what they noticed is that over time, it brought on far more than just neck pain, but also changes in their posture, whether externally or even from imaging as well. So what research has actually shown us is that every inch that your head moves forward is actually an extra 10 pounds added to your head. So imagine moving in this direction. Every inch that you move forward is an extra 10-pound weight added to your head. So imagine the stress that the neck and the rest of your body have to deal with as a result of that. Now, on top of this, what was interesting from the study is that the effects of poor posture were far more than just pain and discomfort alone. What they were starting to notice as well is within these same participants, they were also developing a lot of psychological problems too, where a lot of them preferred to be isolated, they were quite irritable, and developing psychological disorders much earlier than they should be. But most importantly, on top of that, is that even in school, their performance was a lot poorer than some of the counterparts that they were compared to. Now, within our office, we've been blessed to deal with patients at a variety of ages. And again, like I said, a lot of the children coming into our office are developing conditions far earlier than they should be. Now, for example, right in through here, something that we normally see within our office with the imaging is typically within a normal spine for a child, we should be seeing a curvature start to develop within their neck. But then over time, what starts to happen with improper use of devices or even poor postural habits, that curvature starts to move in the other direction, where it not only starts to straighten, but sometimes we've seen curves reverse in the opposite direction. So now the fear with something like this is very important to understand is that when something like this happens at an early age, they may develop things much earlier than they should be. So a lot of the stuff that was mentioned in the study was that not only pain coming on much earlier, but stuff like degeneration, and then even chances of surgery are happening much earlier than they should be, especially for the younger generation. Solutions for bad postures are in need now more than ever, as our everyday demands are pulling us into harmful positions. And that's why in this series of videos, we want to give you possible solutions for bad posture, and often ones that we prescribe to our patients alongside with chiropractic care. So in the next video, we're going to be going over some stretches and exercises to help improve your posture. And if you like this video today, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and also turn on the notification bell. So again, you're the first to know about any new videos that do come out. And don't forget, a healthy spine is a healthy life. Don't forget to like and share this video, and subscribe and click the notification bell to see our weekly videos.
To learn more about how Wellness Chiropractic and the Active Family Chiropractic and Wellness Center can help you with your chronic pain problems, please visit www.wellnesschiropractor.com.
The Active Family Chiropractic and Wellness Center is located at 80 Queen Street South in Mississauga, Ontario, L5M1K4.